Hello, everyone. This is Trina Gunzel, and welcome to another episode of the Legacy and Legends podcast. I am so excited to be able to bring you amazing people around the globe to share their stories, encourage and inspire you in life and in business. As a business consultant, I love being able to help people really be able to expand their story, connect with their ideal clients, and be able to create a life they love. And one of my dear friends today, who's also a member of our Exclusive Business Sorority, Marianne McGuire, is checking in today all the way across the Atlantic. Good morning, Marianne. How are you?
Good morning, Trina. Hello, everybody. I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm fantastic. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And will you let everybody know, where are you checking in from?
I am checking in from Ireland, kind of East Coast, just south of the capital, Dublin.
Oh,
but in the countryside. I'm in the countryside. So I'm here. I live here on my horse sanctuary. So it's definitely country. I'm definitely a country girl, not a city girl. So there you go.
I love it. See, and everybody in the US, when we hear that, we just get this dreamy images of like rolling hills and the country with horses, and that, what a fantastic place to create.
Yes, absolutely. It was kind of everything I did back when I was younger was kind of accidental. And we planted 200 trees here, and kind of, oh God, it's a long story about the horses, but it started off with one, one completely stunning one. And ended up, she was destined for the dog food factory, and I thought, I cannot let that happen. And then so I bought her, and then I'm like, oh my God, they're herd animals, so she needs a friend. And at the end of the weekend, I bought 11 horses and 4 goats, and I think 5 goldfish, and I only started out to buy the goldfish. So that's that story. And then I did get 200 trees. You gotta plant 200 trees. And then I looked around after a few years and thought, this is a sanctuary. Somebody actually said it to me. This is a sanctuary. I'm like, oh yeah, rescue horses, rescue cats, rescue everything. Yeah, it's a sanctuary. So there you go.
It definitely is a sanctuary. And that, I kind of think, leads into your story, because when I think of you, just what I've learned about you in our time together, you are a very safe, inspirational, and creative person, and you just radiate this amazing clean energy vibe. I think that's why we connected anyway as friends, was like this drawn in, wow, there's another being out there that's super good in the world. And so our listeners, we always love to hear more about the personal story, like the journey that kind of took you from where you were to what you're doing now. Would you share that with us?
Yes, I'd be delighted, Trina. And thank you so much. What a lovely thing to say. I do consider myself safe space, sanctuary for women. So, well, fundamentally, I never fully forgot where I came from before I came into the physical.
Yeah.
So I carry that with me, and that informs my work with women now. And that's why I cherish what I do. And also, when I was a child of about 6 years of age, I had a profound spiritual experience. And I knew that there existed something so far beyond this linear reality, and that this space where we live our everyday life was only the tiniest part of what is true. And I knew oneness. So I experienced being awareness, and it was completely profound and very, very beautiful. And as I say, that informs the work that I do now. But in contrast to that, I went through much of my childhood in fear, and I was squashed. So I had a very dominant father, and it was very kind of Victorian upbringing. So I suspended my power to play the game when I was a small child. And then when I was about 18, I longed for that connection, because I missed it. I missed that connection because I knew problems didn't exist there. And I missed it. I was feeling very lost and very, very kind of disconnected. Thankfully, it never went away, and I always felt it within me, but I was feeling disconnected. And so I spent the next 20 years searching for that connection back so that I could feel what I felt before. And I also, at age 18, coincidentally, also creativity. I opened up to creative energy. So I became a painter. I worked in fine art auctioneering. I managed a fine art gallery, and I studied history of art. And even though that sounds, oh God, she's very organized, isn't she? No, I felt lost. And I kind of, I just followed my intuition, but I still felt really lost. So 20 years, Trina, 20 years. I'm nothing if not dedicated. I spent searching. And one day I felt that there was something building inside of me, and I stopped to receive it. And I asked my guides the question, after all of this time, after all of the searching and experimenting and studying, what is the most important thing we can do to find what we're looking for so that we can be happy? And out of the sea of awareness came the answer: let go of struggle and know who you really are. And in that moment and the following 6 weeks, I received the way downloaded that I could use my spiritual experience to get out of the seeming cement-like struggle that I was in. And I stepped out of the box and into my true power. And this is my desire for you, for the listeners, for pretty much everybody, if they are feeling a resonance with this. When you reclaim your power and expression that you would have suspended as a child due to trauma, big or small, there is nothing, there's just nothing like that feeling, because you're connected to oneness, you're connected to divine love, you're connected to your soul, to who you really are. And that's my wish and my desire for the women I work with, for everybody. So that gives you a little feeling for what my background is.
That's beautiful, because that's the thing, out of that, when you're not stuck, like, you can do anything. Those stories that have been put on us, instead of being open and free to create your own story, move forward and through. What a beautiful message and a way to guide women, because that's primarily your clients, right? Do you focus your work with
men as well? Now, it just so happens I haven't worked with men. I'm not exclusive. I don't exclude women or anything. I just mainly, women seem to be attracted. But I've had a few, but it's mainly women.
Anyone wanting to move out of that stuck place.
Yes, and into their creativity and into who they really are.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Out of the conditioned box that they've been put in.
So one of the big things we love to do is really define terms. So sometimes when people listen to something, the reason they may not be taking action is simply because of a word they don't understand. And so what is intuition to you, and why is it so important? If we were going to define intuition so people could go, okay, that makes sense. Because if they're not tuned into it or aware of it, they're not going to use it. Right?
Absolutely. It is guidance that comes through your authentic self. Really, is just how I describe it. So it comes from, for me, divine love. I mean, you can call it God, the universe, source, and it comes through your authentic self. And unfortunately, stress and mind chatter will get in the way of you receiving your intuition. So it's, when I work with women, like, first off, as a foundational thing, I like to give them tools to deal with mind chatter and stress and anxiety, because that captures you. That captures you and keeps you in a distortion, like an energetic distortion. And we want the truth. And it's like the lie, the truth, the distortion. Your intuition is the truth. So if something feels really, it's so ridiculously simple. If something feels light and expansive, doesn't it make sense that you would follow that? Because it's resonating with who you really are, because you are light and expansive. That's the truth. But the lie is, or the distortion will feel heavy and contracted, because that's not who you are. So if something feels kind of heavy and contracted, well, then this is amazing. This is wonderful guidance that you can follow for you to perhaps consider going in the opposite direction. But that's for you to know, depending on what's going on. And the glorious thing about all this is you don't have to just use it for finding your soulmate. Like, should I, choose this person or whatever, or buying a house or something big. You can also use it for foods, choosing foods. I'm really into superfoods, and I'm really into health, and have been for 30 years. In moderation, though. In other words, a bit of what you fancy does you good. I'm not that strict. And so, for example, you could do a test. Is dairy good for me? And you can use your intuition. Does it feel light and expansive, or does it feel kind of heavy and contracted? And it's very important just to mention that we have been conditioned to have our energy. We look outside of ourselves for fulfillment. We focus our energy outside. And I know I did that in childhood because I had a very big heart and I was very loving. And I thought it was my job to heal my family of origin. And so for years and years and years, my attention went there. So outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the secret is that, well, it's not a secret, but the fundamental truth is when you bring your energy within, when you bring your energy within and connect, that's when you can hear the guidance of your intuition. So not outside of yourself, looking outside of yourself for fulfillment or what society tells you, that you have to amass money or status or achievement, because people identify with this. This is the trap. That's not who you really are. We are not our mind. We're not our thoughts. We're not our bodies. We're not our achievements. We are none of that. We are, and this is, even though it sounds very deep, this is part of releasing mind chatter. We are the awareness behind thought. That's who we really are.
Yeah.
And when we connect with that, we immediately, magically can make space to hear the guidance of our intuition about big things, about small things, and then you can take the next best step in your life. I get really excited about this. It's so exciting.
I love it. I love it so much. And I can tell we connected. Like I'm 100% aligned with that. That's
yes,
the way to operate. Because otherwise, all the stories that have been poured on you and all this external seeking for happiness, you're never going to find it. And it's really interesting because when I look at angles of like, because I want people to know about what you do so they can connect and take action and work with you. Like part of that is them seeing if they're seeking for things externally. We'll just bonus you some messaging here to help on that. But, if people are seeking for things externally and finding they're never having that fulfillment, there's another way, and it creates that curiosity. See where they reach out, where they're like, wait, what is it then? But if we tell them everything, then there's no curiosity. It's like, oh, I think it's handled, but pointing out what's the problem? They're externally seeking for these things, right? Or they have so much mind chatter, like you said, they're not even having that internal dialogue or able to feel their intuition. Like you said, that still small voice, right? That's kind of guiding you. Like, I love your example you shared with the food. Would you walk through one of those? So you said with gluten, how would you actually do that then before eating something? Like everybody's getting ready for the holidays, or I call it the sugar season, October through February.
Yeah, I know.
Your intuition to help, because look at your skin. You look like 20, like you're radiating, glowing.
Yeah, pretty good going, actually. I don't wear makeup.
But I mean,
I know I probably got red cheeks from being outside. It's kind of brisk. Right. But thank you. You look fabulous yourself. So what? Yeah, I don't put it. It's very important. I don't put anything on my skin. I just use oil. I haven't used moisturizer in years. So I just use anything that you could. When I had babies, right?
Yeah.
I was always aware of this, but made more so aware that big red X on boxes of stuff, like poison. Don't get this near your children. I thought, I'm getting this stuff out of the house. Okay, so no. So there's nothing. I just use I know this is slightly off, but I followed my intuition on this. It felt light and expansive, Trina.
Yeah.
So now I don't use cleaning products. I use bicarbonate of soda and vinegar, for example, with some essential oils because it's a bit stinky. Yeah. So only for about 10 minutes. Vinegar smell, it dissipates. And then just rub in some essential oils. Fantastic. You can clean anything. And then you can use other natural things that I'm so into, like colloidal silver. Do not get me started. Because you can literally put this in a baby's eyes. They actually, in hospitals, believe it or not, it's not all, pharmaceuticals. They actually, for eye infections, use that in baby's eyes. It is so safe. I only wanted things on my skin, in my body, and in my house that it really wouldn't matter if you ate them. If you
Yeah.
consume them, so what? Bicarbonate soda, who cares?
Sure.
Whatever. And that was a very strong intuitive nudge when I had children.
Yeah.
And it felt light. And it was this feeling of where your heart almost, your chest just goes like an energy. Oh, relief. As opposed to if you hold, some crappy weed killer or something in your hand, you can almost feel it. If you close your eyes, you can feel it. I mean, some people are into muscle testing and kinesiology, but you can feel your biofield just go and shrink in. And then in your gut, in your solar plexus, it's almost like, and if you get used to it, some people might be listening, they might be saying, oh, no, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Your body is incredibly intelligent.
Yeah.
Trust yourself on every level and just give yourself, okay, just for today, I'm going to close my eyes and tune into my body and what is my body telling me? Do I feel kind of heavy? Do I feel contracted in my solar plexus? Now, you might be different. Everybody watching might be different, but there are three main energy centers: throat, heart, and solar plexus. And throat is usually for expression, but very often, and then when you're releasing stuff, now you find you might yawn if you're releasing energy. You're like, why am I yawning? Because you're releasing energy. Animals do it too. Horses do it because sometimes they do energy work on horses. They yawn. They yawn. So there's no placebo going on there or anything. And solar plexus is huge and heart is huge. Anything, especially trauma from childhood or anything that has because we put walls up, heart walls. And so when we release those, when we do the becoming aware listening practice, let me show you. I wrote a book, if I may, From Longing to Belonging. And that has the becoming aware listening practice in it. And it's fantastic for releasing energy. And you'll often feel it in your solar plexus and your heart. And it's so simple to release. I mean, it's such a blessing to know this. And I would urge whoever's listening to give yourself permission to allow what's coming up and what energy is coming up to be released. I'm slightly going off on a tangent there. I'm so passionate about that because your life can become clutter-free and you will attract more just better quality relationships, better well-being and health, and then purpose, because there isn't all this clutter. You're not responding from the point of view of a 6-year-old child, for example, where there's frozen energy in your biofield, like they're like magnets attracting that on the outside as well. So when you get rid of this energy, you can hear the guidance of your intuition so much better. So it's just really exciting from big to small. Does it feel light and expansive? Does it feel heavy or contracted? Trust your body. Whoever's listening or watching this, you're profoundly not only intelligent, but connected. You've a soul that's so much bigger than the part of you, the human part of you that's on this earth. And when you start having a earth experience, physical experience, and I remember what that felt like. That's why I can speak with confidence about that. And you can tap into that. You can tap into that every day. Like, it's so exciting. Trust yourself and don't doubt yourself. But what if? So what? What if? Give yourself a big hug, give yourself some love, and start to trust yourself and make intuition your friend.
That's beautiful. And it's amazing because if people aren't using that or don't even know about it, like, this will be earth shattering. Like, this is why they'll be reaching out to you, because they're like, I'm out of touch with that. I didn't even know that existed. And that's going to awaken someone, which is exciting because that's what you help them do, to be able to tap into that and live that, like you say, juicy, fulfilled life, like you've created there, and obviously radiate through every cell of your body.
Yeah. And creativity is huge because it's so fulfilling. It's so profoundly fulfilling to allow creativity in, because if I may, do I have time to say this?
Absolutely.
I did a meditation a few years ago, Trina, and something was revealed to me that kind of seems obvious to me, but it was like, whoa, so exciting. And it was this: intuition and creativity, like creative flow, come from the same space. They come from the same, and I felt it in my cells.
Yeah.
And I got into meditation. I was like, of course, like I knew it intellectually, but it was like, oh my God, I don't know why I found it so exciting, because I'm so turned on by creative flow. But they come from the same space. And when you're in creative flow, it's not just about, oh, well, let's paint a picture, or let's make jewelry or whatever. Amazing way to express yourself, doing what lights you up. But it's also receiving insights about parenting, how you're going to raise your children, or if you have a business, what the content of your next course is going to be, for example. Like, it's so practical. It is so practical. I helped a woman with this, and she told me, the reason I'm mentioning it, fresh in my mind, a couple of years ago, I helped her. Yeah. And she tapped into creativity. All these extraneous things started to happen. She became an artist. She found her purpose. And she said to me, you won't believe this, but I lost weight that I couldn't lose for years. She was in 30 years of therapy. And she is still 2 years later so happy. And that's my point. This isn't just some abstract spiritual concept. This is practical. This is practical. When you tap into your soul and you start to receive intuitive guidance and tap into creative flow, that's when life gets juicy. And it's all about grounding this, being practical, having the kind of the masculine energy of strategy to hold this energy, and then bringing the feminine energy into it as well, where you have that flow and you tap into it. And that's when life gets juicy.
I love it. And Marianne, so is that really the work that you do with people, of helping them tap into that, or like step-by-step process you take them to? Because obviously you're living it, but there's people who are hearing this who are going to be like, what do you mean I'm not my body? Like, what do you mean, I can be aware of this way, I don't have to feel this way, and then they look for that result, right?
It's kind of to be honest, I don't mean to sound too abstract, but my frequency has a lot to do with it. And I've known this for years, and I didn't really articulate it because I thought, how are people going to, accept that? And that's none of my business. I should have trusted that they would. But my frequency, it's like an activation that happens. So there's a transmission of presence that comes through, and they start to vibrate to that. This is a real thing. They start to vibrate to that. And numerous people have told me this. And I've always known it. So I'm so thrilled that people are feeling it. And so I have when women work with me, say for a period of 3 months, for example, even though I'm flexible, I bring them through that structure where they can feel safe, because the mind loves a bit of structure, and explain to me why this works and all that. So my the 3 stages of awareness is a program I have, and they go through it, and that's the structure. But then when they meet me as well, we go through what's coming up for them personally in their lives, and I'm highly intuitive. And then we can work on it. I teach them about how to release it, and then how to see the gift in it, and then how to act and take action, and feel supported and feel safe and secure. Because I realized that's what I do. And I wasn't aware of it. Like, even with the animals, from when I was a very small child, I took in stray cats, dozens and dozens and dozens. I'm telling you, not all at the same time, but over a period throughout my childhood. It was maybe 5 at a time. At one point, I will say I had 21 cats, because they came to me, and I was only young and I didn't really know what to do, but they just came to me, and I would look after them. And I remember I had one guy, he was absolutely gorgeous, a black cat, and he was very badly injured. And I spent years gaining his trust. Years. And because I'm kind of present when I do it, I don't go, I'm going to spend years. Like, I was only about 14 or something, but I never gave up on him, because I wanted him to know that he could trust a human. So I have this thing that I'm driven to protect animals. Excuse me. And then now I have the horse sanctuary. And then one day I was just out in the fields grooming them or something. I thought, God, this is very similar to what I do for women. I provide sanctuary for them, because I'm totally and utterly non-judgmental. And there's this safe space in my energy where I hold them, even when we're not together. So even in between sessions, I energetically hold them, and they can feel it.
It's beautiful. It's so cool for people to get a little bit of a window in what you do, like a little bit of insight into this work that literally around the globe, you can feel that, that bright energy. It just feels different when people can come into your space and connect. And that's how we got to be friends, and even our daughters. And it's like, one of the pictures that stuck out to me when I saw you with one of those giant horses, like they're not little horses. It seems like
No.
some of the horses you have are huge. It was like, it just reminded me of a poster I saw when I was a little girl, and it was like literally like this princess laying with this giant horse, and there's a calming presence. Like not anyone can do that, for that
Like a
animal to trust you
stallion.
in
Oh,
that.
that's when I was lying beside the stallion. And we were both,
Yes.
our eyes closed. We both had our eyes closed. And
Yes.
meditating with him. Yeah. I love
That's a
that.
big deal. Like that's a big deal. It's my daughter has that same kind of like spirit where our friend has an Arabian, and that horse never let really anybody train it. And it was really a very assertive horse. And she let my daughter practice with her and do a training session. And she's like, that horse doesn't go to anybody. Like she's got that spirit of like, I've got you. It's like you do that safe space.
Amazing. At such a young age as well.
Mm-hmm.
That
And
is beautiful.
I wanted to ask you too, how does it benefit us? Because I know you're having a big art show coming up. You are an artist, all these cool things. Creativity just exudes everything you do. How does it benefit us to look at what energy is arising for, like using energy, right?
When energy comes up,
Yes.
it really, it benefits us to let go of anything that's coming up so that, again, space can be made. Because this is a real thing. This isn't just, oh, it's not a nice concept.
Yeah.
This is actual energy. So what I would say to people listening, when something arises for you, I would really implore you to trust yourself. I mean, you can go off somewhere private and allow that energy up and out. Because if you don't, you're walking around going through your everyday life with this stuff like suitcases, carrying them. Okay, you don't need it. It is okay. It is. It's holding you back. I thought, will I say that? That's a bit judgmental. It is holding you back. At the same time, even when we're held back, and even when circumstances are hard, there's a gift in that. So I don't really want to judge that, okay? Because we're human, and it's not always going to be smooth. But there is huge benefit to allowing yourself permission to release the energy. So when I say the energy that's arising, all I mean is if you're feeling very frustrated, if you're sad, angry, scared, do not sorry, I don't mean to do not. I'll put it back to me. I do not, and I suggest that you do not, because you're so amazing, and I really want to see you expand. Don't reach out for something to numb it. Don't go to the fridge, maybe. Just even if you look, I know about addiction and that it's, it's difficult and all that. But when you start to do this work, something opens up, something cracks, and you realize you are not owned by that addiction. You are far bigger than any addiction you have. You are far bigger than any problem than you could ever have. Please, can I just get that across to you now? You are magnificent. You are amazing. So give yourself permission. If something's coming up, if you're feeling scared or frustrated, or if your children are driving you mad or something, go off somewhere private and let it out. Have a good cry. Have a good cry. Don't keep it in. That's what I mean about releasing energy that's arising, because that could be energy that came from a little trauma when you were 6. And then you react on the outside as if you're a 6-year-old. That's why sometimes triggered. But when you let go of the energy, that energy's gone forever. Now, it is like peeling the layers of an onion. There will be more there. But that particular energy, that particular suitcase you've been carrying around for decades is gone. That's why I totally dedicate myself to this. I do this Becoming Aware Listening Practice. It's in my book all the time. That's why I'm so happy. I honestly God,
yeah.
I used to be like this. Do you remember I said about I thought it was my job to heal my family of origin. I was miserable. I was miserable. And I was always innately happy. They didn't squash me completely. They did not break my spirit. And I loved them dearly. But that's why I'm so happy, because I relax and I release and I give myself permission and I trust divine love. And I know I'm always looked after, and I know you are too. And always remember that intuition is always here for you, even though you mightn't feel like it. You are always connected. And I really want to get that message across. You're never alone. You might feel alone. You're never alone.
So beautiful. That's beautiful. And I know people are going to listen to this and have their heart be touched by that and reach out to you, because I think that is such a huge piece when people go through challenges or struggles, and, you know, we've all done it, right? That's why you say it's a daily process of acknowledging those things, really acknowledging how you feel. And then you teach them how to release that so that they're actually having that pure energy, right? Instead of this bottled up, suppressing, suck it up, buttercup type conditioning that we've been taught, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't say that to a child, would you? If a darling little 5-year-old came up to you and said, "We want your help," with tears in her eyes, would you speak to her like that with harshness? But yeah, look, I remember, a few years ago, I wouldn't speak to anybody else the way I spoke to myself.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen now. I love myself now. I honor myself now. No. We have to treat that part of ourselves like a precious little child.
I love it. I love it. And will you also share with us, tell us a little bit about creativity and why it's so important in our everyday lives?
Well, it's just so fulfilling. It's just so deeply, deeply fulfilling and juicy. And remember, before I made the connection of, which is still so fascinating, creativity and intuition coming from the same space. When you tap into that, you can receive the insights that you need, not only if you want to, I mean, you could set up a creative business if you wanted to, like, I suppose it is unusual. I don't really think about it because I'm a spiritual mentor now. And yes, it just so happens I have an art show. I haven't done one in ages, but I do have one coming up in a couple of weeks. But even years ago, when the conditioning was, that whole rubbish, starving artist, rubbish, garbage, I would say, it's from American friends. I mean, I made, 5 figures in 5 days. You do not have to buy into any conditioning. So even as an artist. So if you want to maybe set up a business as an artist or whatever, you can open up to your intuition, open up to creative flow and think, what really turns me on? What lights me up? What would I like to do? And give yourself that permission. Like I did that, Trina, about 3 years ago. And it's about what I call pure choice. It's about making a choice and giving yourself permission. This is where the structure came in, right? So I said to myself, every morning, I'm going to sit down there at 10 o'clock for 20 minutes to half an hour. There's the structure. There's the choice. There's like the masculine energy. So I did that. And without censorship, I opened up and allowed the creative energy to flow. Yeah. I did that every morning. And at the end of 3 weeks, I had a book of poetry written. And I didn't do it for that. I didn't do it for the outcome. I did it because it felt so deeply, fulfilled. I'm tapping back into it. It was so fulfilling, so connected. This is what I mean. You're connecting with divine love. You're connecting with your soul. Like it's so important to allow this creativity to flow, because otherwise it's all the daily minutiae, especially if you're a mother. Oh my God, the dishwasher again. Telling my kids to get off their device for the 12th time again. It's like Groundhog Day, being a mother. It's a complete pain in the backside, a lot of it. And at the same time, paradoxically, you're over here and you do anything for them because you completely worship the ground they walk on, so to speak. You just adore them so much. But then over here, it's the everyday thing. So it's really good to have another energy. And that's where the creativity and the connection with your soul and the connection with divine love comes into it, because it balances out the that Groundhog Day thing that I think a lot of people, mothers especially, can have to endure, even though it's such a privilege. It's such a privilege, but it can be a pain in the backside as well. We're all human.
I get it. And I'm working on I want Groundhog today to be the best day ever. Like, what if we create the best day ever? It doesn't have to be like the worst day ever. What things can we put in to make each day in a new point in time the best day ever? So it's intentional though with creating that. And I love everything you've shared. I think everyone who listens to this podcast is going to have a better awareness of what it is you do, how you help people who you love to work with, and words that came up today, like safe space, sanctuary, which are specific with intuition, I think is a big thing that a lot of people are so out of touch with. It's like that self-trust, even talking about decision making on whether it's relationships or how they want to take their business or even what they want to eat, right? How they want to respond. What a beautiful way to be able to show the different ways you can help people. And if there are people listening to this who want to buy your book, can you share your book again and say where they can get that? And then how they can reach out to you if they want to work with you?
Oh, you're so kind, Trina. So it's called From Longing to Belonging, how you can finally unlock your own peace, happiness, and fulfillment. And I have that on audiobook too.
Oh, cool.
So they can go to, well, anywhere, but Audible's the main one. And if they want to listen to it. And so I have a website, letgoandknow.com, LETGOANDKNOW. And I'll give you a link for a free gift that I'd love to offer listeners. Again, kind of a practical, spiritual one about overwhelm and procrastination and the spiritual reason behind that. I'd love to offer that. And it was really fun to make. It's kind of, I shoved in a bit of comedy there because I love laughing. So they'll have to watch that and let me know what they thought of it. And if it helped them, I hope it does. And anybody who wants to connect with me, I'd absolutely, if you're resonating with this, if your heart is resonating with this, I would love for you to connect with me. You can email me at info@letgoandknow.com. And I'd love to help you in any way that I can.
Perfect. And everybody, I'm going to have the comments. You're going to be able to find all of those resources below this published piece when you find it on the Legacy and Legends podcast. And as you have seen today, Marianne is such a lovely person. She really wants to help you, and to be able to tap into that intuition and be able to trust yourself so that no matter where you are, whether you want to tap into your creativity, make a better life for you and your family, or to be able to just feel that abundant love. You guys saw it today. Did you see when she tapped into that, how everything shifts? She's just so bright and light, and what an awesome way to live. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Trina. You're such a special, pure person. I love you so much, and I really appreciate this time, and it's complete delight to share it with your listeners as well. Thank you so much.
I love you so much too. Thank you, everybody. I hope you love this. Let us know in the comments down below, and we have that special gift for you. You can claim, and look forward to being able to be in touch with you again soon, friend.
Thank you so much, Trina. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.